Unexplainable mysteries, 9 bone-chilling disappearances finally revealed from the shadows. In the heart of Ridgewood, the whispers of unsettling mysteries gripped the small, tight-knit community. Strange incidents that left townsfolk frozen with fear. 9 children vanished without a trace, their laughter replaced by haunting echoes in the dark woods. Their stories were woven into the fabric of the town's history, sinking deep into the memories of those left behind. Every rustling leaf and distant cry amplified anxiety, painting an ominous backdrop for the annual Memorial Day hike that everyone anticipated. But this year, the innocence of the event would be deeply shattered. As the sun crested the horizon, bathing the town in golden light, Amanda, a single mother and dedicated high school teacher, felt an unsettling tightness in her chest. Her 10-year-old son, Jeremy, was buzzing with excitement, a bundle of energy radiating joy. But then came the second strange element. Rumors swirled, carried by gusts of wind. An unseen spirit rumored to wander the woods, preying on fears buried beneath Ridgewood's idyllic surface. A dark spirit with an insatiable hunger for lost souls. Just as Amanda shook off her unease, the very air felt charged, as if the ground was shivering with pent-up dread. The day unfurled with classic American traditions: barbecue smoke dancing through the air, the warm laughter of neighbors, but a growing tension wrapped around them. With each passing moment, Amanda could feel the shadows gathering just beyond the tree line. As families ventured to the trails, Amanda kept a watchful eye on Jeremy, the anxiety gnawing at her insides. Something about that forest felt alive, almost like it was watching them back. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The moment they entered the woods, the atmosphere shifted. The laughter faded, replaced by an eerie silence that pressed against their ears. Shadows twisted, dancing mischievously, while the towering trees whispered ancient secrets, echoes of lives lost. Amanda called for Jeremy, her voice trembling as it pierced the thick stillness. Her heart raced. He was gone. Panic surged through her veins as she rallied the neighbors: Dan, a war veteran gripped by horrors of his past; Linda, beloved shopkeeper known for her sweet pies; the Morales family, weaving their strength into the very fabric of Ridgewood's heart. As they pushed deeper into the haunting woods, the trees seemed to close in, pulsating with energy. Amanda's chest tightened, her hands trembling as they stumbled upon relics of the past: torn photographs, remnants of those who mysteriously vanished. The unsettling spirit watching their every move, mocking their fears. As the wind howled, distorted voices filled the air, reflecting their deepest anxieties. Amanda was left grappling with guilt, questioning her worth as a mother, while Dan's past battles clawed at him from the shadows. Just then, a chilling cry shattered the silence. It was a voice like Jeremy's, echoing through the darkness. The chill snaked down her spine. Was this the spirit's doing? Or was it a desperate plea to rescue him from the clutches of the unknown? In that pivotal moment, as dread and the weight of unspoken fears loomed, Amanda realized they needed to confront the shadows haunting Ridgewood. Time was slipping away, but would they find the strength to face the darkness together? Amanda's heart pounded a frantic rhythm. That voice, faint yet achingly familiar, pulled her deeper into the thick, suffocating forest. The others fell silent, confusion knitting their brows, and eyes darted among the trees. Was it really him? Jerking free from the stunned group, Amanda charged forward, propelled by a fierce combination of fear and hope. "Jeremy!" she cried, her voice cracking under the strain. Lurching past gnarled roots and thorny branches, she barely noticed the low murmurs of unease from her friends trailing behind. They remained too aware of the stories, too haunted by loss. But how could they be afraid now? Jeremy needed her. The shadows thickened, curling around her legs like cold fingers. The branches overhead sighed, almost alive in their insidious dance. Each rustle became a secret whispered too close to her ear. A feeling of being watched bordered on paranoia as she pressed on, a mother driven by instinct. Suddenly, she skidded to a halt, breath hitching in her throat. A clearing burst forth, revealing an unsettling sight: a cluster of carved stones, jagged and ancient, standing ominously like tombstones. The feeling of dread swelled painfully within her as she stepped closer. Each stone was etched with names, some fading beneath layers of time. As she traced a name with trembling fingers, the air shifted, thickening around her. "Mom!" The shrill cry crashed against her eardrums, igniting adrenaline. It was Jeremy. She spun, her heart soaring yet burdened with fear. But the clearing had turned every direction into an indistinct blur. Shadows twisted, forming unreal shapes, and the moment felt heavy, stretched taut. The others finally broke through, their expressions veering from horror to immediate resolve. Dan rushed to her side, Linda, and the Morales family following. "Where did it come from?" Dan panted, the deep lines etched on his face a testament to the fight they all faced. "There." Amanda pointed toward a shadowed path veering to the left of the clearing, just visible through the thickets, like a secret that beckoned. The wailing seemed to rise and fall, a mournful longing that set her bones to ice. But as they approached, another voice broke through the cacophony of howls, a soft, haunting melody that twisted through the air, gaining tempo, pulling at their sanity. "Run!" Linda shouted, her eyes wide as she scanned the shadows. "We have to go back." The melody caught Amanda, wrapping around her like a web. Something within her wanted to step closer to listen, to understand. But another part screamed to flee. A sharp pain pierced her chest, clawing at her resolve. "Mom, please. Help." It was him again, no longer just a fading echo. Jeremy's voice cut through the melody, raw with panic. Without thinking, Amanda charged into the darkness, propelled by a mix of terror and determination. Behind her, the group hesitated, uncertainty painting their faces. They couldn't turn back, not now. With every step, the shadows broke apart, shrieking underfoot as if they feared her approach, but as she pressed on, the sickening truth dawned: each step toward her son felt heavier, as if the forest itself conspired to hold her back. The whispered voices intensified, crashing like waves against her ears and reverberating in her mind. The trees leaned closer, their gnarled limbs reaching, grasping, searching. Just then, the ground shifted beneath her, and she stumbled, catching herself as a dark figure blurred into her vision. A chilling laugh echoed, and Amanda froze. "Why are you here, Mother?" A voice slithered from the shadows, smooth and suffocating. It was as if the spirit had materialized, bearing the weight of lost souls, laughing at her defiance. "Stop!" she shouted, her fists clenching at her sides. "Let him go. Please, I'll do anything." Silence fell. The shadows quaked cautiously as Amanda held her breath, wondering if she had made the gravest mistake of all. Was confronting the darkness the answer? Or had she just sealed their fate? And beyond the veil of trees, a sickening chill swept through the forest as the laughter echoed once more like a promise. Amanda's south body locked in place, every muscle tense as the specter's laughter faded into the twilight murmur of the forest. The air crackled with a sinister energy, swirling around her, closing in as shadows danced with malicious intent. "Who are you?" she demanded, trying to project confidence over the stench of fear saturating her voice. "Just a memory, a guardian of forgotten things." The figure stepped forward, the outline sharpening into a face Amanda couldn't quite make out, but the eyes, they were piercing, glimmering with cold amusement. She felt her resolve shifting like sand beneath her feet. What had she stepped into? Was this really about Jeremy, or was something far darker at play? "Mom!" Jeremy's voice rang out again, urgent and desperate, piercing through the shadowy veil. It tethered her, pulling Amanda back to her purpose. She couldn't falter now. "I'm coming!" she screamed, pushing her way toward the echo, ignoring the chill of dread slithering up her spine. The laughter transformed into a low, rumbling growl that vibrated through the ground, resonating in her bones. The trees creaked above them, branches clawing at her as if warning her to turn back. But she couldn't not now. The clearing spun away in a blur, and a glimmer of light cut through the trees ahead. The melody twisted again, this time sharper, more chaotic, a desperate plea mustering strength from her failing heart. She sprinted into the luminous void, breath raw and lungs burning, chased by shadows that drew long behind her, relentless in their pursuit. "Don't let her go!" Dan's shout pierced the encroaching darkness as he and the others took up their resolve, racing after her, fueled by the instinct to protect her. A quick glance back showed their grappling with the shadow, faces strained and determined, mirroring her frantic energy, but the forest was a treacherous ally. The winding path constricted, roots sprang to life, pulling her down, branches hungrily slapping against her. Every hazard felt orchestrated, urging her to abandon her quest. And yet, Jeremy's voice anchored her, resonating deeper within her chest. "I promise I'll find you," she called, as the light ahead flickered like a dying star, drawing her ever closer yet simultaneously pushing her away. How could such a bright beacon feel so out of reach? Just as she felt she might burst through, everything fell silent. The air thickened, pressing against her throat. "Leave this place." The voice was everywhere and nowhere all at once, a whisper curling through the ambience like smoke. "You do not belong here." A collective gasp erupted behind her, and Amanda turned, dread swelling in her gut. The shadows had grown more pronounced, each visage a horrific echo of lost souls, mouths twisted in silent screams. They were gathering, swirling, creeping ever closer as if responding to the Guardian's command. Her heart raced. "I want to go without Jeremy," she shouted into the oppressive dark. "You can't take him." The forest answered with a cacophony of wails, an anguished chorus rising around them, shaking the very ground. She could feel the fear rolling off the others now, like a palpable wave. It suffocated her, yet she stayed rooted to the light ahead. The darkness surged, rushing at her in a wave, threatening to engulf her entirely. Could this be it? Would the forest claim her family as it had so many before? "No. I will fight," she yelled, defiance exploding through her, pushing back against the looming shadows that seemed to breathe down her neck. The figure flickered, appearing closer now, grinning wide, no longer just amusement but something feral and deadly. "Fight all you want, but know this, Mother, the shadows always win." Just as the darkness threatened to swallow her whole, she broke through to the other side, stumbling into blinding light. And there he was, standing just beyond reach. Jeremy. But the space between them shifted ominously, a wide chasm opening filled with swirling wisps of fog. Would she be able to cross it? The shadows writhed behind her, tightening their grip like a noose. Could Amanda penetrate the breach and save her son? Or would she be ensnared by the very darkness she sought to repel? As hope and despair danced dangerously in her chest, she realized she had a choice to make. Would she take the leap? Would she ultimately choose to fight for her son, even if it led her into the heart of the shadow? Amanda took a breath, the light ahead beckoning her like a moth to a flame. Its brightness flickered, taunting her, each pulse seemed synced to the thumping of her heart. This was no simple step, it was a leap into uncertainty. But she couldn't let fear chain her down, not now. With a surge of adrenaline, Amanda sprinted toward the chasm, arms outstretched. The fog swirled menacingly, whispering secrets of those who had come before her, voices intertwined in a mournful harmony. The shadows loomed closer, claws of despair reaching for her ankles, dragging her back to their unforgiving depths. "Jeremy!" She cried out again, her voice piercing the thick air, desperate and determined. She didn't know if he could hear her, but she had to believe he could. Just as she reached the chasm's edge, cold tendrils of mist curled around her, tightening as if trying to draw her down into the dark abyss. She felt her resolve falter, doubts creeping into her mind. What if she never made it back? What if she lost everything? But then, there he was again, Jeremy's silhouette, more defined now, a beacon in the otherworldly haze. "Mom! Please, come back." His eyes were wide, filled with a mixture of fear and hope that clutched at her heart. Taking one last glance back, Amanda saw Dan and the others battling against the shadows, their faces etched with horror as they struggled to fend off the encroaching darkness. By crossing the divide, would she condemn them all? The spectre's laughter echoed in her ears, chilling her bones. "The shadows always win, no," she shouted, shaking her head as if to clear the fog now clouding her mind. "I choose to fight." In one swift motion, she leapt into the abyss, arms flailing as she plunged into the fog. Everything went white. She felt weightless, suspended between worlds, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling around her. Then, abruptly, she hit solid ground hard. Pain shot through her limbs, but there was no time to consider the ache. She scrambled to her feet, scanning her surroundings. The light was dimmer now, and Jeremy's figure was gone. "Jeremy?" Panic flooded her voice, echoing through the dense fog. It swallowed her words, and an eerie silence enveloped her. Then, from behind her, a low growl broke the stillness. She whipped around, heart pounding. The shadows began to coalesce, forming a massive shape that towered over her, a chilling reminder of what she had faced before. "Crossing wasn't enough to escape," the distorted voice sneered. "You've stepped deeper now. You're in our domain." The air crackled with energy, an oppressive force that weighed heavily on her shoulders. But a flicker of determination ignited within her. She wouldn't back down. Not now, not ever. Suddenly, she felt a tug at her sleeve. A small hand grasped her, something warm and real against the chill of the fog. "Mom!" Jeremy's voice broke through the terror, filled with fear but also with resolve. "Jeremy!" She gasped, kneeling to meet him. Relief washed over her like a cleansing wave. "How did you?" "No time," he interrupted, his eyes darting toward the looming shadow. "We have to move. The forest doesn't want us here." With a jolt, she grabbed his hand, adrenaline coursing through her veins. They needed to find a way out to escape the grip of whatever darkness had ensnared them. But as they raced forward, the shadow surged, now more monstrous, its razor-like edges gleaming obscenely in the faint light. "You think you can leave so easily?" It roared, each word like thunder rumbling in her chest. "This is just the beginning, Amanda. You've awakened something ancient. Run!" She shouted, pulling Jeremy forward as the path began to open and close like a mouth hungry for its next meal. The shadows writhed with malevolence, and Amanda's heart sank further with each echoing growl. Could they truly escape? Would they end up claimed by the very darkness they fought against? The forest felt alive, its whispers turning into a chaotic symphony, each note threatening to drown them both in despair. With each step, the shadows seemed to close in tighter, suffocating their chances of survival. And as they darted deeper into the unknown, the forest began to morph around them, twisting reality itself. The cacophony turned into an ominous hymn, chanting a warning of a fate worse than death. Would they find a way through, or had they plunged too deep into the heart of the shadows? With that heavy question hanging in the air, they dashed forward into the uncertain depths, unaware of the truths waiting to be revealed. As they raced forward, the forest echoed with the ominous growls of their pursuer, shadows snapping at their heels. Amanda tugged Jeremy along, her mind racing. There had to be a way out. She pushed past branches that clawed at her skin, the cold mist thick around them, stinging her eyes. "Look!" Jeremy shouted, pointing to a flicker of light in the distance. It pulsated like a heartbeat, drawing her in. "We should go that way." But before she could respond, the growling intensified, a guttural sound that reverberated through her bones. The ground trembled beneath them. "No, no, no!" She gasped, glancing back. The shadow was massive now, an unholy amalgamation of darkness and malice. Its eyes glowed like molten lava, burning with a hunger that chilled Amanda to her core. "Mom!" Jeremy pleaded, his small hand trembling in hers, but he tightened his grip as they pressed on, fear juxtaposed with firm resolve. The light flickered again, brighter this time, as if sensing their electrifying urgency. "We have to reach it," she yelled, her voice cracking under the weight of desperation. But the forest seemed to shift, branches contorting, creating barriers that blocked their path. The shadows were gaining. With a surge of bravery, she pulled Jeremy close and together they ducked under a massive branch just as the shadow lunged forward, snapping its dark jaws where they had just been. "Mom, it's south too close," Jeremy cried, his voice edged with panic. "Just a bit further," she shouted, determination fueling her steps. Every moment felt like a heartbeat away from doom, and yet they pressed on, fueled by hope. The strange light grew larger, revealing the outlines of whispers in the fog, hopes and lost souls stuck between worlds. Then, a wave of freezing wind swept through the trees, casting a shroud around them. The shadows hesitated for a split second, and Amanda seized the moment. "This way," she urged, darting toward the light that now shimmered like a beacon of salvation. As they neared, the light shaped into a portal of swirling energy, brightening and dimming like a flickering flame. "We can make it," she shouted. But just as hope surged, the shadow howled, a piercing shriek that rattled her bones. "You cannot escape me," it roared, the sound wrapping around them like chains, tightening with a ruthless grip. Amanda's heart raced, understanding the stakes. It wasn't just their lives at risk, but everything they loved. "Jeremy, hold my hand tight," she instructed, shaking off the fear threatening to paralyze her. Finally, they reached the portal's edge. The hazy veil spun around them like a tornado, beckoning them to dive in. On 3. 1. 2. But right at that moment, the ground shook violently. Roots and branches erupted out of the earth, grasping at their ankles with sinister intent. 3. She yelled, launching herself forward with Jeremy clutched to her side, just as the dark shadow lunged once more, snapping mere inches behind them. They plunged into the blinding light, and all was momentarily silent. Then suddenly, they landed hard again, this time, on soft grass. Amanda gasped, gasping for air, her heart hammering against her ribs. Jeremy lay beside her, eyes wide with confusion and terror. "Where are we?" he whispered, pulling him up. The landscape around them was eerie and unrecognizable. The familiar woods morphed into a strange, distorted reflection of their world, colors vibrating in a surreal atmosphere. Is this the other side?" Amanda wondered aloud. The shadows drifted through the mist behind them, thin tendrils creeping closer, shifting as if trying to encompass their new location. Hope and fear intertwined, flooding her senses. "What if this is worse?" Jeremy whispered, shivering next to her. "Then we'll fight," she replied firmly, clutching his small hand. The shadows weren't done with them yet, and the fear of being lost again loomed larger than ever. Before Amanda could catch her breath, a figure emerged from the fog, a tall, shadowy silhouette, eyes glinting, obscured and menacing. "Welcome," it purred, the voice a blend of darkness and allure. "To the beginning of your reckoning." In that moment of chilling realization, Amanda understood the truth. This new realm was not a refuge. It was a trap, and the true horrors were just beginning. What awaited them in this twisted strange land, and would they truly find a way back? The figure loomed closer, every step echoing with an unsettling rhythm that made Amanda's flesh creep. Shadows danced across its face, revealing sharp angles and an expression both enticing and terrifying. "Who are you?" Amanda's voice quivered but held a note of defiance. "Ah," the figure paused, as if savoring the question. "I am the keeper of secrets. What you seek is hidden in the fabric of this realm. But not all secrets are meant to be uncovered." Jeremy pressed closer to Amanda, the fear in his eyes unmistakable. I don't like this, Mom. Can we go back? Back? The keeper let out a low, mocking chuckle that sent icy tendrils down Amanda's spine. There's no way back from here. You've crossed the threshold. Now, you must choose embrace the truth or become one of the shadows. Amanda felt the weight of his words pressing down on her chest. She couldn't afford to lose herself or Jeremy, not here. We'll find a way back. We've faced worse. She shot back, steeling herself against the growing dread. Worse? The keeper leaned down, its glowing eyes searching hers, probing her very soul. You have yet to understand the depths of despair lurking around you. The mist swirled tighter around them, and whispers began to rise, a cacophony of lost voices, each narrating their own tragic tales. The air thickened, heavy with regret and longing, making it hard for Amanda to breathe. Jeremy shuddered beside her, clutching her hand. Mom, I can hear them, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. They're trapped, Jeremy. Just like us, she replied, trying to keep the wavering tremor out of her voice. But dread twisted her stomach like a knot, making her skin crawl. Would you like to meet one of them? The keeper's grin stretched wider, an unnaturally sinister expression. Perhaps they can help you understand. Before Amanda could protest, the keeper gestured with a long, bony finger. The fog rippled, and a figure began to materialize out of the mist. A gaunt woman, her face gaunt and hollow, emerged. Her eyes were dull, void of hope, and her lips trembled as she murmured, "You don't want to be here. Leave while you can." What happened to you? Amanda asked, her voice softening at the sight of her despair, the woman's hollow gaze fixed on the keeper. Betrayed by my own desires, trapped in this limbo. He offers you the truth, but what you find may shatter your world. The shadows behind them pulsed, closing in as if hungering for the woman's memories, and Amanda felt the urgency of the moment. Tell us how to escape. We can't stay here. A laughter erupted from the keeper, furious and piercing. You cannot simply wish to escape, dear child. Each choice you make has a price. The woman turned, her voice rising above the storm of whispers, you can't trust him. He'll twist your mind. You need to fight to retain your truth. The air crackled with tension. Amanda felt Jeremy tremble against her side, and her heart raced. Choices flooded her mind, but they all spiraled into uncertainty. Mom! Jeremy interrupted, tugging at her sleeve. What do we do? Shoo. I'm thinking. Amanda snapped, her mind racing. She couldn't let desperation overtake her logic. The shadows rekindled their pressure, the whispers growing louder. Time was slipping through her fingers like sand. We need to be strong, Jeremy. We need to find the truth and keep it safe, she said, her resolve hardening, but the keeper stepped impossibly closer, an unsettling smile plastered on its shadowy visage. Ah, but truth is subjective, my dear. The question is, what will you do to protect it? As panic fluttered in her chest, a chilling realization hit her. Was staying true to herself a path to freedom or a fatal mistake? The ground beneath them trembled, shadows roiling, and in that moment, Amanda knew they were teetering on the edge of terrifying revelations. What sinister truths awaited them, and at what cost would their escape come? The shadows merged and twisted, a living entity that encircled them both. Amanda's heart raced, pounding against her ribs like a caged animal desperate for freedom. The wispy fog thickened, constricting, almost suffocating. She glanced at Jeremy, his wide eyes glimmering with fear, searching hers for reassurance. Mom, please. His voice cracked, cutting through the rising dread. We'll figure this out, she managed, gripping his hand tightly. But deep down, uncertainty gnawed at the edges of her resolve. Leave now, while you still can. The gaunt woman's warning echoed, her eyes betraying despair that lingered long after her words faded. Amanda felt the tension in the air thicken, pressing against her lungs. The keeper's expression warped into something grotesque. "Ah, the innocence of youth," it said, its voice dripping with mock pity. "They cling to hope even as the abyss calls for them." With a flick of its wrist, the fog parted further. An array of shadows materialized, each one bearing the faceless forms of those who had succumbed to this place. Their hollow gazes directed at Amanda and Jeremy, mouths moving as if to scream, but only silence permeated the air. James stumbled backward, fear written all over his face. Are they like the woman?" Amanda felt a chill creep up her spine. "We have to stay together, Jeremy. No matter what, we can't let them take you, or me." The keeper raised an eyebrow, its grin unsettling. "Interesting how you cling to your love. It is a wondrous and dangerous emotion. But tell me, dear Amanda, what will you sacrifice to protect it?" "Everything?" Amanda's gut twisted. "I would do anything," she shouted, the words escaping before reason could pull them back. Immediately, she felt a weight shift in the atmosphere, as if her declaration had altered the very fabric of their reality. Anything such strong conviction. The keeper chuckled, and in that sound, Amanda detected something foreboding. "Do you grasp what that means? Sacrifices take many forms." Suddenly, the whispers around her grew sharp, fiery threads weaving through her thoughts. Images flashed her past, the moments of regret and doubt, her dreams twisted and slashed. Memories of her life mixed with visions of Jeremy losing his laughter, his spark fading. "No! Stop!" she screamed, clutching her temples. But the shadows tightened. The gaunt woman stepped forward, her face twisting in sympathy and despair. "Your struggle is for naught unless you confront your truth within." "Mom!" Jeremy cried, staring wide-eyed at the unfolding chaos. The keeper locked its gaze onto Amanda. "What would you abandon, Amanda? Your truth, or the love of your child? The choice lies with you," it hissed, seductive and intimidating all at once. In that moment, Amanda felt as if the very ground beneath her had vanished. Doubt crashed over her. What if accurately knowing herself meant losing Jeremy? Or letting the keeper steal everything precious she held? The woman's voice broke through the fog. "You must not let fear bind you. You are stronger than you know." As the air swirled with shadows and desperate voices, Amanda fought to regain control. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in her love for Jeremy. "We can face this, together," she shouted, the words echoing in the void around them. The shadows hesitated, drawn by her newfound strength. But the keeper's presence loomed larger, reaching out with chilling prowess. "Ah, but strength can also be your downfall, dear girl," it whispered, darkness spilling like ink. Amanda's heart raced. She felt the uncertainty surge again, yet a flicker of resolution ignited within. The truth was worth fighting for, even if it meant facing the unknown. The ground shifted abruptly, sending them tumbling forward. As Amanda struggled to regain her footing, whispers swirled around her, threatening to swallow her whole. "Mom!" Jeremy's panicked shout pierced through. And in that instant, the realization struck with the force of a hammer: the keeper was right, a sacrifice would be necessary. But which truth would she embrace? Would she find the strength to shield her son, or lose herself fighting against the darkness? The shadows surged back toward them, fearsome and insatiable, as the keeper's laughter echoed through the gloom. The question hung heavy in the air, a dark promise of what lay ahead. What would Amanda be forced to sacrifice in the end? Could she face her ultimate truth and still protect Jeremy, or would she lose them both to the abyss? The ground gave way beneath Amanda and Jeremy, cascading them into a pocket of darkness. It felt like they had been swallowed whole. Time stretched, and for an agonizing moment, spiraling vertigo enveloped them, making it hard to breathe. "Mom, I can't see." Jeremy's voice trembled, a thread of pure terror wrapping around Amanda's heart. Instinctively, she tugged on his hand, pulling him closer. I'm right here," she shouted, her voice barely piercing the thick pressure of the shadows surrounding them. In the stifling darkness, dread pooled like ice in her stomach. As they landed with a thud, the air crackled. The keeper loomed just ahead, shimmering like a mirage, misty yet tangible, heartless yet captivating. "Welcome to the void," it intoned, its voice echoing ominously in the enclosed space. "This is where truths are unmasked." The shadows twisted excitedly, swirling around their legs, curling upward like tendrils eager to pull them under. Amanda's gaze darted around, looking for anything an escape, a distraction, anything that could help. But all she saw was the darkness, the cold, hungry darkness. "Jeremy, we need to stay calm," she whispered, clutching his hand tighter, trying to stave off her own rising fear. "We've faced worse. We can do this." With a flick of its wrist, the keeper unleashed a cacophony of whispers that filled the void, unintelligible voices echoing Amanda's self-doubt, dredging up the moments of her life where she felt lost and alone. "Mom, why can't we just go home?" Jeremy's voice broke through the noise, and Amanda could hear the strain in his words, the desperation she knew all too well. "Trust me, sweetie," she urged, her heart aching. Each moment spent in this abyss felt like an eternity. "We have to confront this. Whatever it is, we have to face it together." The keeper's laughter reverberated around them, a chilling symphony of mockery. "Together? Oh, how quaint. But you misunderstand. The bonds of love will be the very tether that binds you to this realm of despair." Suddenly, the shadows lunged, spinning faster, shifting forms into the faces of those Amanda had lost. Friends, family, each one flickering in and out like broken ghosts calling out to her. Pain pierced through her chest, each face a haunting reminder of what she had to protect. "Don't look. They're not real," Amanda shouted, squeezing her eyes shut, but the anguish tore through her resolve. "Mom." Jeremy's voice cracked, his grip faltering, Amanda's eyes snapped open. "No. She wouldn't let this place take her son." She took a step forward, forcing herself to stand tall despite the tremors in her heart. "You don't scare me," she yelled, pushing back against the surge of despair. "These memories don't define me." The keeper reacted, a flicker of surprise passing across its ominous visage. "Interesting choice of denial. Tell me, would you stand strong if the memories were to shift, if they turned dark, more sinister?" At that moment, the very air thickened. The familiar faces twisted, morphing into terrifying visions, horrors that lurked just beyond the edge of her consciousness. Faces twisted with grief, anger, and despair, eternally screaming in silence. Amanda gasped, grief clawing at her insides. "No." She fought back tears, her voice barely above a whisper. "You won't take us. We're stronger than you think." The keeper's grin widened, a mirror to the abyss. "Strength is nothing but a fleeting fancy, dear Amanda. Let us see if your love can endure true sacrifice." Jeremy's terrified eyes locked onto Amanda's. "What does it mean, Mom? What do we have to do?" She hesitated, fear wrapping around her throat like a noose. For a moment, uncertainty loomed larger than the shadows. What truth was hidden inside her? What price would she have to pay to save them? And as if sensing her hesitation, the keeper advanced, shadows swirling in tighter circles, the air pulsing with anticipation. Their whispered promises coiled around Amanda, luring her into the depths of an unspeakable truth. The keeper's voice was a hiss, tantalizing and disarming. "Will you pay the price, Amanda? Embrace the darkness, or will you fight against it? Choose." A surge of wind tore through the void, swirling shadows flashing in her mind. Would her defiance kindle hope, or would it plunge them further into despair? As the keeper's laughter echoed and swelled amidst the shadows, Amanda stood poised on the knife's edge of her fate. What final decision would fracture the abyss, and could they emerge unscathed on the other side? Heat surged within Amanda's veins, igniting a fierce determination that pushed back against the mesmerizing darkness swarming around them. With her heart pounding, she drew a deep breath. "I won't let you win," she shouted, her voice slicing through the whispers, reminding her that strength wasn't merely the absence of fear. It was the battle against it, but as soon as she spoke, the shadows quivered, responding to her defiance. Suddenly, they coalesced into a swirling vortex, and from it emerged a chilling image: her father, face twisted in anguish, his mouth moving silently as if pleading for help. Amanda's breath caught, a lump lodged firmly in her throat. "Please, stop. You can't do this," she screamed, fighting against the pull of his tragic figure. The keeper leaned closer, an insidious smile spreading across its face, reveling in her torment. "You think your strength is enough? Look into the abyss and see if it throws you back," it taunted, gesturing toward her father's anguished form, now fading and morphing into shadows of betrayal. Figures from her past, well-intentioned friends who turned away during her darkest hours, emerged next. Their eyes were empty, they stood rigidly, like puppets stripped of life, mocking her belief in connections. "Mom, don't look." Jeremy's voice quavered, panic resonating in the depths of his tone. She turned to him, seeing the terror reflected in his eyes. Each shadow that appeared felt like chains wrapping tighter around her heart, squeezing every glimmer of hope. "Jeremy, focus on me," Amanda cried out, her resolve intensifying. She knelt down, drawing their gaze to each other. "We're together, remember? You, me, nothing matters more. We can break this cycle. We have to remember who we really are." As he locked eyes with her, the darkness shifted again, uncertain of its power against their bond. The keeper's expression soured, its grin faltering for a brief moment. Ah, the power of love, such a fragile thing, yet constantly tested. "Are you ready to sacrifice everything for it?" Suddenly, the shadows shifted once more, presenting the darkest corners of Nelson Street, a night full of sirens, panic and screams. The scene morphed into chaotic snapshots of that awful night, memories Amanda had fought hard to bury, tears streaked down her cheeks. "No. That's not what happened. We tried, we fought." She insisted, but the images twisted back into grotesque mockeries, dragging her further into despair. With a forceful push of her will, Amanda spoke again, her voice strengthened by the images of real love in her life. "You do not get to rewrite our story. We are not defined by our darkest moments." The keeper recoiled slightly, sensing the pushback, and the shadows surged restlessly. "Brave words, Amanda, but what if the ultimate price is what you cherish the most? Would you be willing to lose Jeremy to save yourself?" The air around them crackled ominously, and Amanda felt dread slither down her spine. She couldn't fathom a world without her son. "No!" she gasped, shaking her head fiercely. "I won't let you take him." "Then perhaps you will just have to show me," the keeper said, deriving pleasure from the chaos. In a sudden rush, it vanished into a flurry of darkness. The room spun with disorienting swirls, and Amanda felt a sudden jolt, as if reality had torn apart, and then everything went still. Overwhelming silence descended. "Mom?" Jeremy's voice trembled, the word hanging heavily in the air. Amanda turned to him, heart racing, but the shadows began to graze her skin, whispering promises of anguish and loss. Something was dangerously building, something that felt like the very foundation of her world was about to shift yet again. "Whatever it takes, we will find a way out," she vowed, desperate determination in her voice. Their bodies locked together against the encroaching void, but deep down, Amanda felt the chilling truth unfurl. The keeper was waiting, and the end of their unity could be just a heartbeat away. "Will you truly sacrifice your bond for fear?" came the echoing voice of the keeper, now swirling around them like smoke. What sacrifices lay ahead, and could they withstand the keeper's final test? The answers waited in the shadows, just out of reach. Amanda's heart pounded against her ribs as the keeper's words sank in. The weight of what was at stake pressed heavily on her chest like 1,000 leaden weights. She gripped Jeremy's small hand tighter, the warmth of his presence fighting against the cold that seeped from the shadows. "We won't let fear take us," she said, her voice steady even as uncertainty tumbled in her stomach. The shadowy figure shifted, a pulsing mass of menace, eyes gleaming like cold stars. "Your bond is a weakness, Amanda," it hissed. "Every choice comes with a sacrifice. How far will you go?" She could feel Jeremy trembling beside her, his innocence hanging in the balance. "We're stronger than that," Amanda asserted, drawing on every ounce of courage she could muster. "We choose love." At that moment, a surge of energy radiated through her, igniting a fierce resolve that began to spread like wildfire. The shadows quivered, sensing the shift in her spirit. "No!" the keeper roared, the force of its voice tremoring through the void. "You do not understand." Suddenly, the world around them shifted. The ground beneath their feet trembled, and reality fractured once more. Shadows darted away like frightened animals, their cries melding into a cacophony of wails, despair swirling like smoke. Amanda pulled Jeremy closer, shielding him from the onslaught of fear. "Mom, I'm scared," he choked out, his voice breaking. Amanda's heart twisted painfully, the weight of his fear igniting something deep within her. "I know, baby. But we can do this. Just stay close," she reassured him, trying to keep her own voice from shaking. As the keeper loomed closer, its presence suffocating, Amanda searched for anything that could give her strength. And then she remembered. The memories, those lovely, cherished memories, the laughter, the warmth, her love for her son. With renewed purpose, she took a deep breath. "I won't let fear define us. I won't allow you to take what we have." Light erupted around them, bursting forth in a radiant beam that cut through the darkness clouding the landscape. The shadows recoiled, shrieking as the brightness illuminated Amanda and Jeremy. "We will fight for each other," Amanda declared, her voice reverberating with conviction. The keeper shrieked, its form fracturing at the seams. "You foolish girl. You think love can shield you? It binds you to this realm." The shadows loomed like thunder, twisting and writhing, now more desperate than ever, clawing at the edges of the light that surged around Amanda and Jeremy, but the warmth enveloping them felt invincible, a protective cocoon woven from hope and unbroken love. "Hold on tight," Amanda whispered, and together they leapt forward, straight into the luminescent light. It enveloped them, swirling around like a parental embrace, pushing back against the obsidian grasp of shadows, and then, they were through. With a sharp intake of breath, Amanda and Jeremy landed in a lush, sun-drenched meadow, a world untouched by the darkness they had just escaped. The light washed over them, thick with golden warmth and the sweetness of blooming flowers, their salvation. "Mom!" Jeremy exclaimed, bending down to touch the vibrant petals. Laughter bubbled from his throat as others caught up, bewildered but awestruck by their sudden emergence from the realm of shadows. Dan, Linda, and the Morales family rushed to their side, eyes wide and faces flushed with relief. "I thought we lost you," Dan exclaimed, pulling Amanda into a fierce embrace that grounded her back onto solid earth, a familiar safety that she clung to. Amanda took a moment to catch her breath, the shock of their escape flooding through her as she hugged her son tightly, relief and joy washing over her. "We're okay, Jeremy. We made it," she whispered, tears blurring her vision, but this time with a sense of hope. Yet a gentle reminder flickered in the depths of her mind: the shadows weren't gone, they continued to lurk on the fringes, waiting for the moment weakness would strike. But instead of fear, there was resolve. Ridgewood had its history, its lost children and buried secrets, but now, they were armed with the truth. Together, as a community bound by trauma and experience, they could fight back against the darkness where it lay hidden. As they stood together, breathless and weary yet victorious, Amanda knew they had found their way home. Above them, the sunlight sparkled like hope, illuminating their path ahead. And for the first time in what felt like ages, Amanda felt the tightness in her chest ease. They had everything they needed right there each other. "Let us take this back with us," she said firmly, looking at her friends and family around her. "Together, we'll face whatever comes." A collective nod surged through the group, a shared breath of unity. They were stronger now, bound not just by shared fear, but by a resolve born from love and understanding. As the shadows retreated, the smell of fresh earth and blooming flowers filled the air, and Amanda finally felt like she could breathe again. They'd faced the darkness and emerged on the other side, hand in hand, with hearts as powerful as the sun shining down upon them. This was a new beginning. Now, if you enjoyed this thrilling conclusion, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Every click counts. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about the ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything.